Aggression-based matchmaking. This has been confirmed by the developers that it is indeed a feature in Arc Raiders, where more friendly PvE type players get put up in matches with other friendly PvE players, and more PvP heavily aggressive players will get put up in matches against other heavily aggressive PvP players. Today, I decided to test and answer a couple of questions that many of us, including myself, had about this aggression-based matchmaking. First of all, does it truly exist? Second of all, is it just black and white in the sense that it's either a friendly lobby or a straight up PvP lobby? Third of all, does playing in duos or trios alter your aggression-based matchmaking in your solo games? And lastly, how long does it take for you to change your aggression-based matchmaking? How many games would it take for you to go from a heavily PvP lobby into a friendly PvE one? Before we answer how many games it takes for us to pivot our aggression-based matchmaking, I can answer a couple of these questions first. First of all, yes, it does 100% exist. There is without a shadow of a doubt an aggression-based matchmaking, and you will see it for yourself here in a little bit. Second of all, I do not think it is as black and white as PvP or PvE lobbies. First of all, yes, there is definitely a mixed lobby, or that is a PvPvE lobby, where you'll get in a game and there will be a mixture of both chill players and a mixture of heavily aggressive PvP players as well, which is what the game would have realistically been if there were no aggression-based matchmaking. But more importantly, after running today's experiment, I feel like there are kind of like levels or tiers to each one of them. What I mean by that is, for example, when you're in the friendly lobby spectrum of matchmaking, if you're really extremely friendly to the point of never shooting anyone ever, you get put in these lobbies where everyone is also like that. Some players literally ignore you completely and just assume 100% you're of no threat to them. But there can also be friendly lobbies where everyone is indeed friendly, but people are more jumpy. They watch you, they'll keep their guns out, they're skeptical of you getting a little bit too close, and some of them are definitely ready to defend themselves if they have to. So I think there's this sort of hidden rating system where it will place you against players that are kind of like yourself. If you literally don't shoot anyone ever, it will try to place you with people that are exactly like that. Again, this is just my theory, but this is something I did feel after running this experiment multiple times. I do believe that there are levels to this. It's not just as black and white as PvP or PvE or PvPvE lobbies. Thirdly, yes, playing in duos and or trios will affect your solo aggression-based matchmaking. Personally, I don't really agree with this. I can't speak for everyone, but the way I play solo is completely different from when I play in groups. If I could choose, in solos, I would like to be placed in mixed lobbies where you're never sure of anything. And in groups, I do enjoy to play heavily PvP aggressive, so I do wish these two types of queuing were not attached to each other. But as of right now, they definitely are, as we will find out here soon enough. This video is for those players that find themselves in overly aggressive lobbies that don't really want to be there, but they still find themselves in those overly aggressive solo lobbies anyways, because of their duos and trio games. Now let's find out how many games it takes for us to lower our aggression-based matchmaking. This first experiment, I was in a completely PvP aggressive lobby, and I decided we would decrease our aggression-based matchmaking all the way to fully friendly PvE lobbies. I must make it clear that I'm sure there are a lot of things that play a role at decreasing and or increasing our aggression, but since we have no information on what those could be, the way I decreased my aggression was by simply queuing as a free loadout in Stella Montis, and I did not shoot at even a single player. I would purposely let players kill me if it were the case, and I would just stand there unarmed, letting them make their decision. I also didn't use my microphone. I did not spam the don't shoot emote so as to not sway anyone's opinion on whether they wanted to kill me on sight or not. For the first two games in the PvP lobbies, I think I had my gun drawn, but eventually I figured I would just walk around unarmed so as to let the enemy players decide for themselves whether they wanted to kill me on sight or not. So let's go ahead and get into the first experiment. We're gonna drop in the first game here just to confirm our baseline that we were indeed in a heavily PvP lobby. All right, Let's see what baseline we're working with here. It should be a full-on PvP lobby. Let's, of course, confirm that this is the case. Oh, there's the answer. Immediately shot. No questions asked. Definitely in a PvP lobby. Just to confirm, we're not even just going to continue fighting this guy. We're going to swap to another guy. There's another one. As you can see, he is positioning himself ready to fight as well. Definitely shot at me. Two players immediately shot us on sight. No questions asked. As suspected, I mean, I knew I am in a pretty PvP lobby. Just, you know, just kind of confirming it there. Another PvPer. Straight rushed us. And yet another one. All right. So that pretty much confirms it. We are in a complete PvP lobby. Let's go ahead and swap onto the next game. And now we're going to start decreasing our aggression-based matchmaking by officially not fighting back. And we will see how quickly we can get into the PvE, or I guess I should say friendly lobbies. After we've established that we are indeed in the deep PvP lobbies as our baseline, we started actively decreasing our aggression. So for the first 5 games, I did not fire at any single player, and in most cases, players had little to no hesitation at killing me on sight, despite me not firing even a single shot or throwing any grenades. Around the 6th game, we did start to notice a shift in our games, potentially landing somewhere in the mixed PvPvE lobbies. Let's see how they react to me coming in here. Coming in unarmed. Again, I'm not going to sway him into anything. I'm just going to walk in here and we're going to see how it reacts. All right. Just going to walk out of here. Possibly. I mean, that is the first friendly encounter. What was interesting about that is he heard me coming up on the snow and he did not stop breaching. So there is a potential. Oh, I was going to say there is a potential we're in a friendly lobby. We might be in a mixed one. Either that or he was just a PvPer that got caught off guard and he's like, oh crap, I'm just going to act friendly. This person's also not shooting us on sight. Wait, what? What? What just happened? Is he shooting around me or felt like the bullets was going right through me? I think it was just shooting. Okay, are these guys just... No. That answers that question. What the heck just happened? What is happening with that person? Is he doing the same as me? But with the Venator? What the hell just happened? By the 7th game, we are indeed without a shadow of a doubt in a mixed lobby. As you'll see, players are quite jumpy and they're ready to PvP, but in a lot of cases, they're also willing to not fight if you are a rather friendly player. I don't see any bodies in hospital or medical. This is usually a good sign. This guy's looting and not turning around. Seems friendly so far. That is one friendly encounter. Broke the glass behind him and he didn't really care to react to it. I'm gonna chase this guy on the zip line. Let's see what he does. Don't think he really saw me. I didn't want to take the zip down. I'll tell you why. If I took the zip down, he definitely... I think even if he was friendly, he would have been kind of sketched out and possibly wanted to fire back. So, hurt somebody somewhere around here. Let's breach this. Let's see how... Oh, people are fighting each other. We might be in mixed lobbies. Okay, this guy gave up. Yeah, I think we might be in mixed lobbies already. I think we got a mixture of full-on aggressive players and some players that are just kind of, you know, a regular PvP VE experience is what I would say this looks like. Yeah, we got another don't shoot player there. I have a feeling this is a mixed lobby. You got a mixture of both. You got people who want to shoot on sight. You got people who don't want to shoot on sight. Oh, he's saying he's going to defib me. I don't... Let's find out if he's just trolling. Okay. All right. He was not trolling. This is definitely a mixed lobby. Yeah. This is definitely a mixed lobby. This is what a PvPvE lobby usually looks like. Where players, you know, you got your kill on sight players. You got your players who just kind of want to loot up. And you got, of course, your players who are just kind of skeptical. Gonna help this guy out a little bit. That's about 5 players that just kind of don't kill on sight immediately. Or if they do and I stop shooting, they just stop. This is definitely a mixed lobby, 100%. Somebody called in an extraction. I'm gonna run up right to the extraction. We're gonna see if he shoots me here. See, people are jumpy. People are jumpy, but they're not PvPing. This is where people were hard PvPing. And that's the first hard PvPer in this lobby that we've come across. I believe we came across 6-7 people or something like that, where they were just kind of mixed players. They didn't really want to kill on sight, but they were ready to defend themselves if they had to. So they would draw their weapons as they saw us, but they wouldn't just shoot, blast away. And in the case of that one player, he did knock us, but he kind of felt bad about it. So he just defibbed us. Because he knew I was a friendly player, so he just figured, all right, you know what? I'm just going to defib this guy. The 8th game, I believe we were still in a purely mixed lobby, but I did get unlucky enough to run right into a PvPer who just put me down pretty much immediately. But this is where things shifted completely. By the time we reached the 9th game, we were officially in PvE-friendly territory. But like I said earlier in the video, I do believe there are tiers to the friendliness. For example, on this 9th game, the entire lobby was friendly, but you could notice people were always jumpy or just always keeping an eye on you. For example, this one guy who just shot me a bunch because he thought I was rushing him down. But when he realized that it was not the case, he stopped shooting. And then for the entire rest of the game, pretty much everyone is just purely friendly, but you could always feel they're watching you like an eagle. You can just easily shoot me in the back here if he wants to. Let's find out if he rats me. Turning my back to him so he can react however he wants to.
Yo, what's up? Oh, cheers, bro. Appreciate that.
Not gonna lie, I think I'm gonna extract this blueprint. Leave him there, nice and safe. Once again, people were on the edge, but they weren't full-on PvP aggression. After this 9th game, we had crossed straight into PvE-friendly territories. For the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th game, we were in a completely friendly PvE lobby. By the 12th game, which was my last game with this experiment, we had players who literally did not care if I ran up on them. They would just continue on about their day without any worries that I might want to harm their runs. So for the first experiment, I would say it took us about 9 games to start seeing friendly players, but if you want to call it an even 10 games, I think that's a pretty solid number to call it. It takes about 10 or so games to kind of reach that friendly territory. At this point, I then went on to play some duos and trios with my friends, and I wanted to see if that was going to cause a shift in my solo aggression matchmaking. So we went on to play about 11 games or so as duos and trios, of course, always aggressive as grouped games generally are, and by the time I returned to solo, I tested out to see where we had landed. And as I expected, our aggression-based matchmaking had changed completely. We got taken out of friendly lobbies entirely, and we were fully back to completely PvP lobbies. That answers that question. We are definitely back into a highly PvP lobby. Just after playing a couple of games in duos and trios highly aggressively, that does impact your solo aggression-based matchmaking as well. But here's where things get interesting. I ran the same exact experiment again of going into Stellamontis, free loadout, not shooting at anyone, and I found extremely similar results. The first exact 5 games were completely kill on site aggressive PvP lobbies with no questions asked, but by the time we reached the 6th game, we were back into mixed lobbies. There were PvPers, there were more users actively trying to use the in-game microphone, trying to spot out who was friendly and who wasn't. And of course, in the 3 mixed lobbies we played, we encountered 2 rats who pretended to be friendly, but actually weren't. Funny enough though, both of these rats got spotted by friendly players, and of course were then killed by them, so that was hilarious to see. Alright, that was just a ratty player. So it does seem like we are in friendly lobbies, but you know, there's tiers to this. There's levels to the friendliness, right? Good job, nice shot. It's okay, man. I don't have too much. You can loot me. GG. Karma is a bitch. So the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th game were pretty much mixed. By the time we yet again reached the 9th game, we were back to friendly lobbies. And anything after that is, of course, purely PvE friendliness. So that concludes our experiment for today. My point of this experiment was to find out how long it takes to fluctuate from PvP to PvE solo lobbies. And it does seem like 9 to 10 games is the sweet spot to get you down there. Now, the point of this experiment is to help solo players who enjoy chill lobbies like myself in solo, but appreciate some nice PvP group combat, which is what I believe is how most players are like anyways. I did not experiment how many games it takes to go from PvE to PvP through solo, because I'll be honest, I don't really feel too great about shooting friendly players that are just playing the game to relax just for the sake of shooting them. I am, however, extremely confident that to go from friendly to aggressive lobbies, it does take far less time. There have been times I've been in completely chill PvE lobbies, then I go ahead and play 2 to 3 duo games with my friends. I'm suddenly back in completely PvP lobbies again. If you want to pump up your aggression-based matchmaking without shooting chill raiders, just go do some group queues, or if you don't have anybody to do group queues with, just do fill squad when you go matchmake, and go play some Stellamontis PvP, and you'll be back to aggressive lobbies in just a few games. That's gonna conclude today's video. I hope you guys learned from this, and I appreciate all of you. I'll be catching you legends on the next one. Peace.